My name is Amanda, and I'm here with my very lovely mother,
Jeanette. Hi there.
Yeah. And today we're going to talk about our favorite things to do in Epcot. So a couple of weeks ago, we did our favorite, or like our top rides in Epcot. But this week, we're actually going to talk about our favorite things to do that are non-ride related. So they can be, anything from shopping, not restaurants either, like food, but anything from maybe like small dining experiences to shopping, to shows, things like that. So yes, I'm excited to hear what your top 10 are. We decided this episode, I kid you not, just this morning. So we both just scrambled to put together our
That's
notes.
because Amanda knows how much it takes to do her last podcast, which was a lot of work.
Yeah, so we scrambled to come up with our top 10 list. It's hard to come up because you can either go so broad where it's like, well, I like to eat, I like to shop, and I like to walk around.
But the joke is that even without the rides, like when you said without rides, without restaurants, and I'm like, what do I put on here? But when you really think about it, I mean, I just love being in Disney just because I just love being in Disney. I mean, I don't have to go on rides. I don't have to go, do anything. There's so many things you can do that just, you don't even think about.
Yeah, no, for sure. I try to be quite specific with mine, but what is
I got as specific as I could get with.
Yeah, what is your number 10?
Well, my number 10 is shopping and connections.
Okay.
Because I have to admit, I missed the old store. What was the old store?
Mouse
Gears.
The new one is called Creations Shop.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was Connections. I'm sorry. Creations?
I think it's
Creations. I got
Shop,
it wrong.
yeah.
Creations. Oh, Connections, I think, is the food place next to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Creations. I like the old store. I like the atmosphere of the old store, I think. I think I just like the atmosphere of the old store and how things were set up. This is more open, modern. I just like it's change, and I like the old stuff. So,
so you're just
I still like going in there.
In the old store?
Right, I like the old store. I like going in there because they have all the merchandise, because you can go through and see all the new merchandise, everything they're featuring. They do have some stuff that's just for Epcot. So you can go in there and see all the new stuff and some of just the Epcot related merchandise and stuff. So I enjoy shopping in there. I just miss the old layout.
All right, that's cool. Mm-hmm. That is funny because in my number 10, I put shopping and creation shop.
Oh, see? Okay.
But I actually like the new creation shop better than the old Mouse Gear. And I think it's because I actually like that look of it. I think I like the bright atmosphere in there. I like the way things are set up. Mm-hmm. The layout makes more logical sense for shopping. But I agree. I think creation shop and Mouse Gear as well, like Epcot tends to get a lot of the newer gear in first in comparison to other ones. So I think Epcot and Hollywood Studios get a lot of the new stuff in before, like Magic Kingdom, World of Disney,
Studios, yes.
Especially Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom doesn't get anything. I feel like they get their own special stuff. But yeah, I feel like a lot of the cool stuff tends to be there. Also, Epcot is my favorite park, so I love all the Epcot gear. I love seeing all the Epcot items. I love all the festivals in Epcot as well. So I love seeing all like the festival themed
stuff, right.
things, items
That's what I said,
as well.
They get all Epcot related merchandise.
Yeah, for sure. So it's like in that sense too. Yeah, I kind of just like all those types of things. So yes, I do want to put Creation Shop on here because I do think it is a good store to pop in and out of. But yeah, all right. What's in your number 9?
Number 9 is going through Epcot when you're walking around and they have all the food booths.
Yeah.
Not that we eat in every food booth. We do sample here and there once in a while, but not that we eat in every food booth. But I love looking at the signs.
Yeah.
Because
how it's all themed.
Yes, because it's all themed for the country, and I love looking at all the ingredients. I like to cook. I'm not a baker. I'm not a big dessert eater either. I'm a food eater. So I like looking at all those signs as we walk around, only because it just gives me that I feel for each country what they're putting in their food and what they're serving as what they think is a signature dish. Mm-hmm. So I enjoy that.
Yeah, no, I like that too. I love to, especially how busy the park feels when there's all those booths around and people eating the food,
right.
and trying to get the food that they want and stuff. I think it's really fun in that sense. I like that atmosphere. I don't have the food booths on mine at all, so that's why it's like, I do like the food booths. So I think it's fun. And my number 9, I just put right now the nighttime show, because right now, before it was Harmonious, before that it was Illuminations, now it's going to be Luminous. So I just kind of, actually right now technically it's Epcot Forever, but the new show coming out is Luminous. But I do like nighttime shows in a general sense. I do think the ones in Epcot are fun. I like that Epcot tends to do a lot of shows that are themed around coming together, about like world peace, so to speak, like bringing the nations together. And I kind of like those overall themes that Epcot tends to go with for their nighttime shows. I think they're quite fun. I like the idea too that, especially in Harmonious, I'm assuming Luminous and Epcot Forever do the same, where they have songs that are sung in the native countries where like the movies come from. Like that was one of my favorite parts of Harmonious.
Oh, yeah.
Was that the Mulan songs are sung partially in Mandarin and then also partially in English as well. I thought that was really special. So I love seeing that. I just think that's really fun. So I want to put the nighttime shows here. Although I will say I'm a big firework person. I feel like Epcot doesn't do as many fireworks as like Magic Kingdom does, for instance.
Right. It's not a fireworks show. It's more a show.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, a nighttime show, but I do still like it as a nighttime show. It's still really great. So, and then what is in your number 8?
Okay, it's getting a snack. 2 countries I like to get snacks in.
Okay.
One is China, because I love egg rolls and I love dumplings, and theirs are really good. And
usually
usually
go
by
to
the
the
time
quick
we're
service, right?
usually when we're over there, we're tired. So it's a good place to get an egg roll or a thing of dumplings and just sit in their cafe and, have a drink and eat. Usually get a boba.
Bubble tea. Yeah.
Bubble tea. And we sit there and we eat. And then the other place is France, because I like to go in there and get their, what I call elephant cookies.
The elephant ears.
Yes,
yeah.
I call them elephant ears. But France is always a fun place to go because you can sit out by the fountain, people coming and going. It's very busy. There's people coming, there's people going. It's a good little snack to get. They have different things that you can get and
They have
hang
a lot of
out.
different character meet and greets over there too. So sometimes you see the characters.
Yeah, you see the
in
characters
distance.
and stuff. So it's a cool little place to stop and sit and watch the people go by. So that's my number 8 is getting like a snack here and there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I have snacks later on in my list. At my number 8, I'm putting these two as one item, even though they technically could be separate, but it was hard to limit it down to 10. So I have walking around the world showcase to see specifically the Christmas trees in the Festival of the Holidays or the topiaries during the Flower and Garden Festival. Because I love seeing how, especially for the Festival of the Holidays, how each country celebrates the holidays. I think that's really special. I think it's really cool how each country will do something slightly different. They have the different depiction of who like Santa Claus would be. So in America, obviously it's Santa Claus. In other countries, it's not Santa, but it's a different type of character who'd be around in like the winter season. So I like seeing that too. I think that's really fun to see from that cultural aspect and learn about different cultures. And I think that's really cool, honestly. And again, I just like seeing too how they decorate for Christmas in all the different countries or any holiday as well. So like what holidays do they celebrate in the winter? It may not be Christmas. It could be something else.
Right.
And yeah, that's one of my favorite things to do. So I'm really excited to do that this year because we haven't been to Epcot in the Christmas season in a while now, in a couple of years.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years since we've been there at Christmas.
So it is really fun to do that. And again, taking photos of all the trees and
I'm looking forward to
all the
it.
characters is fun. And again, same thing with the topiaries. I love the topiaries of the Flower and Garden Festival. That's one of my favorite things about the Flower and Garden Festival is all the topiaries. And I know they tend to reuse the same topiaries every year, but every year they usually add like one new one.
Right. They
And
usually
some of
bring
them-
out new ones. But even when you see them every year, they're still amazing to
they're
look
still
at.
so cool to see. And sometimes they move around. They're usually like in a different spot in the pavilion. Sometimes they move pavilions. Like the dragon used to be in the China pavilion. The last few years it's been in the Japan pavilion. So sometimes they move around a little bit from the front of the park, maybe to the back of the park, depending upon where they could fit or something. So I think that's really fun every year to see like where the topiaries are going to be placed this year and, what theming they'll do around it. So I think that's really fun. So I love the topiaries and I love the Christmas trees. So, all right, what's in your number 7?
Werther's.
Oh, Werther's.
Werther's to me, and it's not even like I eat a lot of caramel, or half the time we
just
don't even
smells
buy
amazing.
anything.
Yeah.
We just want to go in there to smell it.
Yeah.
Okay? I just want to smell it. And actually, my memory is going to be about Werther's later on. But I just like the idea that you walk in there and you smell that caramel and that you watch them making that caramel popcorn, and it just brings back just that feel of just being
It's like such
in
a
there.
comforting smell.
Yes,
a
it's
comforting
just
feeling.
great. I mean,
Yeah.
you go into a lot of places where they have smells. They have, potpourri, or they have things baking, or chocolate chip cookies, or this or that or the other thing. You walk into the Werther's shop and it hits
that
you
smell
right
of
in the
caramel
face.
and popcorn just
Yes,
smells so
it
good.
just hits you. Okay, so that was my number 7.
That is a really good one. I don't have that. I have something similar though on number 7. I have shopping in the world showcase, but specifically my favorite ones. So again, I mean like it could be all of them, if I'm being honest, but specifically I'll talk about China. China is one of my favorite ones. I think China has such a great array of items in the China pavilions, like shopping, from clothing items to actual like items to fancy jewelry to costume jewelry to like little plushies to like more authentic Chinese kind of decor or items. So yeah, I just really love all the items in China. Same thing with Japan. Same reason they have such an array that spans everything you could possibly want in Japan. Also, I think just Japanese culture in itself leans a lot towards that, like I forget what they call it, but like that cutesy type of items, and I just love that stuff. I think it's really fun. I have Italy as well. I love all the high fashion that you see in Italy. Again, all the perfumes, the leather bags, the clothing there, the masks for Venice, the
3 of
Venetian
our favorite
masks.
stores to buy stuff in.
So yes, I had to include Italy. I also threw in the United Kingdom as well. I like walking through the United Kingdom. I don't tend to buy a lot in the United Kingdom. However, I do like seeing
Well, they
all
have
their
the Winnie the
items.
Pooh.
They have the Winnie the Pooh stuff. They have a lot of like Kath Kidson themed items.
Yes.
She has a very like feminine, like floral type of like of aesthetic, and that's a lot of their items are kind of in that Kath Kidson type of aesthetic, which I like. Even though I don't drink tea, I love seeing all the different types of tea. I don't know why. I like idolize tea, even though I really don't like tea.
She tries over
I
and over
try
again.
so hard to like tea. And it just has not happened yet. So one day I'll become a tea drinker. It hasn't happened. I've even had like an actual Englishman make me tea before. My manager is in the United Kingdom right now, and he's made me tea, and I still just couldn't do it. So, but yeah, but I love walking around the UK too. They also sell like UK candies that you don't normally find in America, which is fun. So you get to see like different candies and stuff too in the UK that I do like. And the last one I have on my list here is Norway. I actually love the Norway shops as well. We don't always go through Norway, but the high quality Norway items they sell is amazing.
Well, yes, especially for people who want to buy winter stuff.
Yeah, they sell the really high quality jackets, like the ski pants, the sweaters,
hats, everything.
And it is so beautiful to see those like chunky knit, gigantic sweaters that you'd wear if you lived in a place that was below freezing on a daily basis. So phenomenal to see those items. I also love the perfume as well in Norway. I feel like France is more well known for their perfume, but each pavilion actually sells perfume.
Yes, they all do.
Yeah, the perfume in Norway is my favorite, actually, I think. I didn't buy it last time I was there, but I've been thinking about it, and I may go back and like smell it again and decide if I'm going to buy perfume in Norway. Yeah, but I do love the items in Norway as well. So I just
nice jewelry too, Norway. Norway has very delicate jewelry.
Yeah, so I just want to give a shout out to some of my favorites. Honestly, I love all of the shopping in every pavilion, like especially, again, we can just go through the all 11 pavilions if we really want to, like Mexico. And
obviously we love to
Germany.
shop.
Yeah, so, but those are just a few of my favorites. So shopping specifically in the World Showcase. But all right, what is your number 6?
It's a seasonal thing. It's seeing all the international Santas.
Yeah,
It's a seasonal thing, number 6. I love seeing all the international Santas. When you're there at Christmas, every country has its own Santa. And I remember, I don't know if they still do it, but years ago, they used to all congregate at the front when you come down the main entrance from Epcot to the lake, and they have that one big Christmas tree that faces, that sits right in front of the lake. They used to have all the Santas used to come up there on the stage at one time. I don't think they do that anymore.
I don't think so.
No,
either,
I think what they do now is you just see them in each country. They'll show up.
There's like posted times that you know that they're going to be out, so you can like, talk to them, take photos.
Yes, they take photos, they tell stories about their culture and stuff. I have to say that their Santa in the American Pavilion is the most authentic Santa I've ever seen.
He does look like a good Santa Claus.
We have a family picture with Santa and Mrs. Claus that I put out every Christmas for us. Amanda was a baby. She was sitting on his lap, and it was just, it's great because he was always the best Santa. And when we lived in Pennsylvania, we had the whole week of Thanksgiving off. So we tended to go to Disney during that week because when you woke up the day after Thanksgiving, it was Christmas. So we got to be there during that week when kids were off from school. And the next day we would make sure that Epcot was our plan because that's where we would see Santa. I would bring you kids to see Santa there because he was the most authentic one I have ever seen.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you imagine too, Disney would make sure they have a really great person playing Santa there. So no, I definitely agree. Even when we went like a couple years ago, I remember specifically waiting to see Santa. I didn't want to get in line because there's lots of kids in line and stuff like that. I was like, all right, don't take away from the kids.
Side.
But when he was kind of between you kind of like can wave at him and he'll wave at people who are just in the pavilion as like, they're between getting the kids in and out of the line and stuff. No, but that's true though. I think they do have a great Santa.
He is authentic. You look at him and go, that's Santa.
And that's what makes you think too, the other people representing Santa in the other countries must also be quite authentic too, to whoever they're representing, whatever.
So that's one of my favorite things. It's seasonal, but it's one of my favorite things.
No, same here. Again, same thing with Christmas trees. That's why I was like, that's seasonal. So, all right, that was your number 6, right?
Right.
All right, my number 6 is taking photos in the China Pavilion. The China Pavilion to me is one of the most aesthetically pleasing pavilions. I will say because of the layout of the China Pavilion, it's hard to take good photos because it's very bright there. There's not a lot of shading in the China Pavilion, so you have to go there either early in the morning, late at night, or during like a nice cloudy day to get like some of the best photos. But I love the China Pavilion so much for photos. I think it's so beautiful. Honestly, I love the Chinese architecture. I think the gardens in front of China are so lovely just to walk around. The same thing, kind of going back to the Flower and Garden Festival, they put out the 12 Chinese zodiac animals around this area as well, so you can see all the different animals that is represented in the Chinese horoscope. And I love seeing those too. I love walking around taking photos of them. Mulan does her meet and greet as well, and like kind of the bamboo sort of in the back, but sometimes she just walks around. And they also have some acrobats too in the China Pavilion, which is fun to take photos of.
Very entertaining.
And sometimes they also have the Chinese dragon as well, seasonally as well. So but taking photos in the China Pavilion is great. It's a really great spot to take photos. There's like this little bridge in front of like the main building in China that you can take photos on. You can take photos with like the garden behind you. You can take photos all the way in the back where the buildings are. So it's a bit more, it's like as if like you're just sitting eating your little bubble tea. Even where the quick service is, looks so cute for like a little Chinese quick service. So no, I love taking photos in the China Pavilion. I think it's really great.
Well, I think they do. Like I said, any country really does that. But even China, you go into the restaurant, you go into the courtyard. It looks like China.
All right, what is in your number 5?
Sitting in Italy.
Yeah.
Just sitting at those tables right at like the front where you're just kind of walking into the plaza.
Yep, I know what you mean.
And just sitting right there and just watching the people go by on one side and just looking being at the Italian Plaza on the other side. Of course, since you've been to Venice, we get a whole history lesson while we're sitting there. So we feel like we're really in Italy. But you can feel like you're in Italy, technically. We sat at those tables last time we were there because, like I said, we do get tired and we sit down and relax and watch the people go by. But Italy is interesting because, like I said, they have that guy comes out and does all the little tricks and stuff and has the people around and, keeps everybody clapping and happy and stuff. And then he leaves and then it's just quiet. And then, people coming and going. I enjoy doing that, just sitting in that, especially that part of the park. For some reason, it just the look of it and looking across the lake and just seeing it just makes me happy.
Because it almost feels like you could be in Venice.
Yes,
that's
just
what
makes
Venice
me happy.
Is, basically.
Yes.
It's just all water like that. It's all canals or the Venetian lagoons. So so the Venetian lagoon is just the World Showcase.
Right, and it just happens to be at that one of those points where we say, "Oh, it's time to take a break."
Yes, to sit down.
Right,
and then you convince yourself to buy that leather bag in the town.
Yes, go back in and buy the leather bag that we want.
And my number 5, I have kind of similar to taking photos in the China Pavilion. I have wandering through the Moroccan Pavilion.
Oh,
I think since they've expanded the Moroccan Pavilion further back, it is so incredible to walk through this one because I feel like this is one of the more immersive pavilions. Because when you're walking through those like the little crevices of the Moroccan Pavilion, you can't see the rest of Epcot from there. You look up and you just see the blue sky, and like you could be in in Africa. It's like I am in Africa right now in Morocco, walking around Marrakesh or something like that.
Right.
And I think that's insane. Insane to think about. It's like I'm in a real bazaar.
Yes.
Yeah, the way they've done
even
it.
their quiet room, everything is very
the quiet
very...
room, the smells that you're in there, like all those Moroccan spices. It's just like the incense, everything. It's like all the items that you're surrounded by are all
they did
authentic
a good job.
items. I know we've done a whole deep dive into the Moroccan Pavilion, but the King of Morocco actually sent his personal advisors over when this pavilion was being created to make sure that it was as authentic and genuine as it could be. That's amazing. That's amazing to walk around and be like, yeah, it's like the King of Morocco approved of this pavilion. Again, I have not been to Morocco. Would love to go to Morocco one day. And I imagine when I go to Morocco, I'll come back and be like, yep, this is just a little tiny slice of Morocco.
That's what we did with France too when we went to France. Because like I said, I have not been to Venice. So, but you go to France and we came back and I looked at the things along the lake there and said, that's exactly what it looks like along the Seine.
It's just a little slice right here.
Little slice of France right there.
Yeah, like the details in the Moroccan Pavilion are just so incredible. But I love that feeling of when I walk through it, I just pretend it's like I am currently in Morocco. I'm no longer in Florida, and that is amazing to feel. I love just kind of wandering.
That's what you're supposed to be doing.
Around. Yeah. Again, I named my cat Morocco after this pavilion, so she's named Morocco because of this pavilion. I would not have picked Morocco otherwise. So love the Moroccan Pavilion. All right, what's in your number 4?
Mine is the nighttime show. I said, it's not I would not consider it a fireworks show.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the show that's on right now. It's okay. I don't think it's as good as the last show, the first show.
We haven't seen. Have you seen Epcot Forever?
Yes.
I have not seen Epcot Forever.
Oh, wait a minute. Not the one that's on right now. I think we missed that one. Harmonious.
Yeah, Harmonious ended in April.
Harmonious
but it was the last show we saw.
Yes, the last one I saw, I should say. The last one I saw. We did not see the new one.
Yeah, right now, well, it's not really new. Epcot Forever it's kind of like the interim show.
Yes, the interim show.
Between Illuminations and Harmonious.
Yes, we kind of missed the interim shows. We missed the interim show before they had Harmonious, too.
Yeah. It was Epcot Forever. That's what it was. They just brought it back.
Yeah, we missed that back then, too, because it was too cold. The night that we were there, we had to leave because that's how cold it was. But yes, I like the show. I just love it. I just love watching the shows because they're Disney music. It's Disney music. It's entertaining. It's, water and fireworks and whatever. I still like watching it. I may not like it as much as some of the other ones they've had. And maybe I'll like the new one better, but I do like watching the show.
Like if you just think of the production scale of what it takes to put these shows on every single night, 7 days a week, it's just phenomenal.
It's amazing. You watch it and it just draws you in. I mean, it doesn't matter. We don't stand, we don't wait 4 hours to go sit and be right at the front anymore. We're at that point now where we can just stand behind somebody else. It's no big deal and watch the show and enjoy it and not have to fight for, joggle for a place or whatever. So I do enjoy it that we stand there and we listen to the music and we get to be entertained.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, again, that's why I had the nighttime show too on my list. So, and my number 4, this is quite specific, but it's watching the koi fish in the Japan Pavilion. The koi fish are so cute. So if you don't know, when you walk into the Japan Pavilion, they're kind of to the left. And I think they get overlooked a lot because people don't realize, it looks like a garden over there, but you have to walk all the way over and then look down and then you'll see the koi fish swimming around in there. And they are so cute.
They are.
They do kind of swim up to the edge when they see people looking at them and stuff. You can't feed them or anything like that. They're kind of already there. So again, don't be throwing any random food into the koi fish.
Feeding them.
Yeah, but I love the koi fish so much. I think they're so cool. I just love koi fish in a general sense too. Like I love seeing koi fish when you go to like those like super fancy like Asian restaurants or something like that, and they have the koi fish in those ponds. So it's so cool to see the koi fish there. And yeah, I feel like they kind of get overlooked a A lot of people don't realize that they're right there. There is also a little, I guess, like not kiosk, but like a little pavilion right there,
Right
like
there,
a little thing
yes.
that sells a lot of the sake and Japanese drinks. So usually there's a big line right next to it, and people don't realize if you just kind of get out of line and look over, the koi fish are swimming
are in
around.
the pond.
But they're so lovely to look at. I love little koi fish so much. So definitely make sure you check them out too. All right, what's in your number 3?
Drinks in Mexico.
Drinks in Mexico.
A margarita with the dips and chips in the I think it's called La Cava now, the cave down in the Mexico Pavilion. Mm-hmm. It's very crowded. It's always very hard to get into. Now they have a whole tequila tasting experience, which I'd love to do, but can't because you'd have to carry me to the parking lot after that, especially during the day.
Says the person who is like, she's like the tequila connoisseur in our family.
Yes, but I can't drink it all at once. So I said I would love to do that, but I'd have to eat a whole meal first and then go there and then go home. So
yeah, and then we get the wheelchair out.
Yes,
wheel you back to the car.
So I probably won't be doing the tequila experience, but their margaritas are delicious. Their dips and chips are delicious. It's queso and salsa. It's so good. You get to go sit in there and feel like you're in a little Mexican bar. Like I said, it's just fun. I just like doing that, you know. And when you walk into the Mexican Pavilion, you're immersed too. It's dark. You're like it's nighttime in Mexico.
Feels like you're in
yes, you feel like it's nighttime in Mexico. And like I said, the surprise is when you come out and the sun's out. It's like, oh my God. But it's fun to go in there and eat the chips and have a drink and just relax.
Yeah, no, for sure. We definitely agree. I'm not as big as a drinker as my mom is. But
well, I'm not a big drinker, I have to say. I'm
you were back in the day for sure.
Yes, I was back in the day when I was young and carefree, but I do like
you're still young and carefree.
Yes, I don't think so, but I do like a good tequila. And I've come to the point where if I'm going to drink, I want to drink something I enjoy. I don't drink for the sake of drinking. I drink because if I'm going to have a drink, I want to enjoy the drink. It has to.
I'm the same way though.
Right. It has to go with what I'm eating. You know, I mean, I won't drink tequila if I'm having Italian food, you know, kind of thing. But I usually don't drink it when I'm having a hamburger or something. But it depends upon what I'm going to eat and what I'm going to hang out and do. And I'm not a sugary drinker normally. So a margarita is fun, but I'd rather drink the tequila straight because that's the kind of person. I'm a very simple eater and a very simple drinker.
Yeah.
So, you know, but that place has all the tequilas. So if I go there and I want to order something, I can order my favorite tequila. So
yeah, and let's remember, she drinks it straight, everyone. Just
straight on the rocks.
Which is wild. Most of us can't do that.
Yes.
All right, in my number 3, I have looking and watching the fish and the aquatic animals in that, like, in the Nemo and Friends area. That's like behind the ride after you get off the ride.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah, I love looking at all.
Oh, God, I forgot the aquarium. How could I forget that?
So I didn't know what to call it because I guess it is an aquarium technically. It's like a very like little mini aquarium.
Yeah, it's a mini aquarium.
Yeah, but I love it so much. They have animals there too. What they have right now, a manatee, I think is right.
Oh yeah, you go upstairs and they feed the manatees.
Yeah,
and,
or is it a beluga whale? I can't remember what animals they have there off the top of my head. And they have dolphins for sure. We've seen the dolphins before. Again, they have the little nursery section with all the little baby fishies, all little baby seahorses, and then they just have regular tanks too, just filled with fish. A lot of fish from like Nemo.
How could
itself.
I forget that?
Yeah, no, that was like one of my. I was like, all right,
we have to go 11 now. It's so funny because Amanda threw this on me at the last minute because I originally thought we were doing a different thing.
Podcast and then have the brain capacity.
I knew I didn't have to because I did so much work for the last podcast. I said, "Oh, good, I don't have to do anything. I just have to sit and listen."
Easy.
Right, and then all of a sudden she said, "Oh, by the way, we're going to do our 10 favorite things from Epcot." My mind went blank. Now, I mean, how could that happen? And I'm saying to myself, "Okay, let me think. Forgot all about that. That's one of my favorite things to do."
Yeah, no, I love it. It is so fun just to be in there. You can just sit by one of those tanks and just sit and just.
Well, that'll be my 3A.
Okay. But yeah, I just love it so much. I think it's great. And again, I love aquariums in a general sense. My brother growing up, he was a big aquarium person. So we literally have gone to every aquarium in like every major city I've ever been to.
And I love it. I do love it.
Yeah, no, I love it. Even when I travel on my own, if I can go to the aquarium, I will go to the aquarium just to see it.
Yes.
The Disney one. Again, it's very small. Obviously, it's not like a full-fledged aquarium.
But you don't need a big one. You just want to watch them.
I love it. Yeah. I think this is really
great.
All
right, anybody who listened to one of the last podcasts when I did the contemporary, I had 3A, 4A, 5A pages. I had things inserted everywhere. So I'm inserting 3A as the aquarium. I forgot to find.
All right, what's your number 2?
Okay, my number 2 is the concert series at Epcot. Okay, I had to put that in there because that's also seasonal. But I have to tell you, I love the concert series because some of these people they have there is people that I used to see years ago that you can't see anymore. And, they do a full 3 sets. I mean, they're short sets, but they do a full 3 sets. And you've already paid to get into the park.
And some of them will do different songs in each set. So
yes.
if you wait around for all 3, you're hearing different songs.
You're hearing their whole repertoire of songs, and they're entertaining. entertaining and they're fun. And like I said, it's already free technically because you've already paid to get into the park. So why not take advantage of it?
Yeah, for sure.
So I really like the concert series.
Yeah, no, I do think they're really fun. And even if you're not even going to stop and sit and watch, just to walk by.
Oh yeah, we've never stood online and waited. We always wait till the end and then just slip in the back, and sit in the back. Sure. I don't have to sit in the first row. I just want to hear it. And it's just so much fun that they really do have some good acts.
Yeah, no, they definitely do. They bring in a lot of good ones. And they do this for all the festivals. So Flower Garden, I think it's called Flower Garden Rocks.
Right.
And then Food and Wines, Eat to the Beat. Festival of the Holidays. It has to do kind of with the candlelight procession. So
yes, the candlelight procession.
But for that one too, I think the hosts will come and do the reading for the candlelight procession. And then there's music, of course, afterwards as well.
John Stamos is going to be there when they're there. When we're there in Christmas. So we'll have to just go at least take a look at him.
See
I like
if
him.
We can peek at him.
Yeah.
I wonder how crowded some of these like speakers get. Like if he pulls in a big crowd.
I think some of them really pull in a big crowd.
I know Neil Patrick Harris is a very popular one too.
Yes, he's right after John Stamos.
Yeah, pulls in a big crowd. Although Simu Lee is going to be one of them. We're just missing him, and I'm kind of sad about that because he's one of my favorite actors right now. I can't believe he does that though. I didn't know that. So
yeah, well that happens with the concert series too. They'll have all these like the Voodoo Daddies and all these people in Starship, Jefferson Starship, and I'm like, oh, can I plan a trip while they're there?
No, I do like that. I don't have that on my list, but I do like that concert series as well.
You can make it 3A.
And my number 2, I have Sitting Along the World Showcase. And for my specific one, I sit with a snack. My specific snack here is the guacamole and chips at the Mexican Pavilion. So you can kind of sit anywhere you'd really like with the guacamole and chips. You can sit in the Mexican Pavilion. We've sat kind of across from like the little African outpost before. Anywhere you can really basically get a seat for the most part at that point.
Sometimes it's just hard.
Yeah, but yeah, I love the guacamole and chips at the Mexican Pavilion.
Oh, they are so good.
So good. It is very fresh guacamole. I feel like you get a good amount of guacamole too for what you're paying for.
They give you a nice portion.
Yeah, guacamole, as we all know, is expensive. Wherever you get in the U.S., guacamole is expensive. And for the money you're paying for, I think you get a pretty good portion. You get a good portion of fresh tortilla chips. So definitely worth it. That's one of my favorite snacks around the World Showcase is guacamole and chips. And
that's our favorite thing from the Mexican Pavilion anyway. Like I said, we were thinking about going to Mexico to eat, and I looked at the menu and said, really, all I want is the guacamole and chips. So we can just buy that outside as a snack.
I mean, I like Mexican food a little bit more than my mom does. I would eat other Mexican food as well. The guacamole chips is a big staple.
It's a big step.
Sure. You definitely want to make sure you get that.
Right.
But yeah, that is one of my favorites. And again, like my mom was saying before, like when she likes to sit in front of the Italy Pavilion, it's like just sitting and just like watching the people go by. I think the World Showcase is a great spot for sitting and people watching because a lot of people are kind of on the move around the World Showcase, whereas in different areas of like certain parks or certain areas even of Epcot itself, more people are a bit more stationary.
Yes.
So you may all be sitting together, maybe like in the land, for instance.
Around the land they kind of sit. Yeah, you don't see a lot of people.
It's not as much of people like moving from one pavilion to another, trying to get to another.
That's part of the fun.
Reservation or a ride or something like that. So so I do just love that areas. All right, and now we've made it to our number 1. What is your number 1?
Okay, well it's funny because my number 1 kind of encompasses everything at this point because my number 1 is the browsing and walking through the pavilions.
All right, that's basically the same as mine too. Is the encompassing walking around the World Showcase.
Right, walking around the World Showcase.
Yeah, so and that sorry includes, to the front of the park. This is our World Showcase.
That
focus.
Includes we like the front of the park because there's a couple of rides we like to go to. But once you do the rides, that's it. We're done.
And once all the construction is done, I think it'll be a little better. Like again, we haven't seen the Journey of Water yet.
But I got to tell you that walking, I just love going to Epcot just to start it. Like I said, whatever side we start on, I don't care.
Just start on the side. And
yes, I don't care what side we start on. I just love the fact that every pavilion has its own little details. Like you said, Morocco or China or Japan. Or you go into Japan, you walk up towards where they have that new quick service restaurant at the top. It's all like waterfalls.
It's so beautiful.
Stuff. And then you go to China and you sit in their courtyard. And then you go to Morocco and you're, like you said, you're in the middle of you feel like you're in Africa. And then I just love walking through all the stores and seeing the merchandise. And that was my number 1. My number 1 thing to do is to walk, just to keep on walking. And that's why we have to stop and get snacks here and there because we get tired.
Too. Yeah, it's just so fun just to walk and just to look. Right. I love too looking across the World Showcase too at the skylines, so to speak, of the World Showcase.
Yeah, it's just so much fun.
As the sun sets over the UK Pavilion, you're like, oh, look at that. The sun is setting.
Just every time of day. Every time of day has a different view. Yeah. Every time of day has different stuff going on. You've got characters in some of the countries. You've got people coming and going. You've got,
if you really walk through each pavilion, there is so much to look at.
So much detail.
So much to see. Like if you go into the back of the UK Pavilion, there's another little concert series they do back there.
Right, back there with the UK bands.
Canadian Pavilion. Right. You can go all the way to the back of the France pavilion.
Right.
Like each pavilion has so much that's like packed into it. It's incredible.
Yes, and it has all the detail. I mean, even when you walk past
love it.
France and you look at the French restaurant that's there, you don't realize the detail that's on those windows. That when you look into that restaurant, you kind of look past the detail on the windows and you're looking at the people eating at their tables or whatever. But if you stop to back up a little bit and think about it, when you walk down the streets of France, because we've been to Paris, when you walk down Paris, that's what got me was the architecture. One of the paintings, one of the pictures I have in my house is of a florist. It was just a florist window with some flowers on the street. And I took the picture because it was just typical Paris. And when you walk and past that restaurant, what you don't pay attention to is all the wrought iron detail around the window. So if you really take the time, like I said, when you kids were young, we didn't take the time to see a lot of that stuff because you were not interested in seeing a lot of that stuff. And keeping you kids moving and doing and whatever and seeing everything was more important than it is now. And I think that's why when people say to me, you're going back to Disney? What do you do in Disney? What do you mean, what do I do in Disney? I mean, it's just, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of detail.
You see something new every time.
Yes, and I enjoy that kind of stuff. Some people don't enjoy that. Some people want to go to the islands and sit on a chair and have a drink and look at the beach, and that's fine. I'd like to do that too. But I have to say that when you go to Disney, especially now at my age and your age that you're, an adult, walking through those pavilions is just so much fun.
No, for sure.
And like we said, you go into Italy and they have like these dress bags that we bought that you cannot buy anyplace else. And then, you walk into China and I've bought their like pajama jackets and wear them as clothes. I mean, they're beautiful. I've had people stop me and tell me how they love my jacket. And, it's something you can't get here. Yeah. There's things that you can pick up in these countries that I'm not going to China. I'm not going to Hong Kong. I'm not going to Morocco. And there's things that you can pick up in these pavilions that I can't get in New Jersey, you know?
No, for sure. No, I agree. That's what I'm saying. That's why it's so special to be along the World Showcase. And it's just so lovely to be in, It's like, I feel like Disney, Disney does a lot of that stuff best.
And that's why we enjoy it.
And that's why, again, I feel like that could have been, that's like all 1 to 10 is like basically the World Showcase.
Yeah, I mean, half of the stuff was technically details of the World Showcase. But my number one is just, even if I don't do one specific thing, just walking around the World Showcase and hanging out. When I get tired, you sit down and say, where are we? Okay, I'll have guacamole. Oh, where are we? I'll have an egg roll. Where are we? Oh, I'll have a cookie from France. I mean, it's just that kind of atmosphere.
And I do look forward to when all the construction at Epcot is done, because I wonder how that will, maybe I'll like things in the front of the park maybe even more than the World Showcase, or what they're going to add more to make it even more different and more expansive. Because right now the front of the park is all construction.
Well, I think that's why they did the Moana too, to keep people more interested in coming through the front of the park.
Oh, yeah.
Going through that, having
because
something.
they're going to put another stage in the front of the park. That's one of the things that they're building there, so they could do like the music and stuff all year round. So that will be interesting too when that's done, and what acts they decide to bring.
Yeah, the only entertainment they used to have in Epcot was by the fountain, and they would only do that at certain times of the year. They'd put up a stage and have some acts that used to go up and do some stuff on the stage back there.
Yes, I wonder what it will look like when it's all done. I look forward to it. Yeah, but that was kind of some of our top favorite things to do in Epcot. Okay. So I love Epcot so much. Transition. I just have one thing on our Disney news segment today, and that is because we were pre-recording this podcast, so there is not a lot of new Disney news right now for like a pre-recorded podcast. So probably by the time it comes out, a lot probably has happened. So sorry we're not talking about the thing that happened yesterday. Right. But
well, the problem is we do not live near each other, so in order for us to be together, she has to come up with the news.
But it's just for us to kind of react to some of the Disney news. So Disneyland Paris has announced its new Disney Symphony of Colors is coming on January 8th, 2024. It is an electric parade in the sky with a drone sequence inspired by the iconic Main Street Electrical Parade, and it will combine fountains, lights, and projections. I'm so excited for this show. I think it will probably look amazing. The fact that Disneyland Paris is doing all these phenomenal drone shows, I do wonder when that will come to Disney World. I'm sure there's a lot of things to do with, like, I know like you can't just have a bunch of drones flying in the air, there's some kind of like danger to that, Right. And there is a lot of things around the immediate area of Walt Disney World to have a bunch of drones in the air like that, where Disneyland Paris is a bit more sectioned off from like the other areas of like around them in France. So I do wonder one day, I'm sure we'll come again like one day to Magic Kingdom. And again, Epcot did have during Epcot Forever, not right now because of the barges in the center of the lagoon, but during the original Epcot Forever, they did have the drones that kind of did the kites around the lagoon. Right. So I mean, like they've had drone mini shows before, but not an all full-fledged drone show the way that Disneyland Paris does their drone shows. Again, once you've seen a drone show, it is very hard to like unsee that. It's like, again, I had never seen a drone show like that. I know there have been drone shows in the world before. Like I know there's a really famous one with like a Chinese dragon in the world that's like this huge dragon that's like moving through the sky that I've seen and heard about, and I've seen videos of it. But let me tell you, a video will never capture what a drone show looks and feels like when you're standing beneath it, because there's just no way to do it. Like, it just looks like a picture almost in the sky when you just see a photo or a video of it. But when you're standing beneath it, you realize the magnitude of how large it really is above you. And just, again, on a clear night especially, it's just amazing. Like, there's just no other way to describe it. So I'm excited to see what this new drone show will look like. I'll have to try to get back to DLP so I can see this new drone show. I used to love the Main Street Electrical Parade. So I think that's really cool that they're basing it off that electrical parade and trying to, I guess, maybe bring more like American audience to DLP to go see that or something. Just so amazing. So I'm excited to see that. I know they'll do a great job. They always do a great job on their drone shows over there. So, and again, looking forward to the day we get a drone show in Florida. I think that'll be exciting. All right, and then we can transition into some Disney birthdays. There's no Disney birthdays this week either. Not a lot of Libras in Disney, which is kind of interesting. But today, the day that this podcast episode comes out, is my cousin's son's birthday. His name is Dominic. So happy birthday, Dominic. Him and Mickey are besties. So I love that for Dominic. So happy birthday to him. And then later this week on October 26th is one of my closest and best friends, Laura. So happy birthday to Laura as well. So later this week will also be Laura's birthday. Laura. All right, and now we can transition into our Disney memory.
Okay.
So
as promised,
Disney memory.
It's a Worldist memory. What happened is it was a December vacation. It was all four of us, and Luke decided he wanted one of the Disney mugs. And when you go to Germany, they have a stand outside that graves on the mugs. Yes. So he wanted one with his. He was part of a fraternity at the time, and he wanted his fraternity on the mug with the Mickey on the other side. So because they were going to engrave this glass beer mug, we had to wait around for them to do it. And we kind of said, okay, we'll wait around. It was so cold. And when it gets cold and windy in Epcot, it gets cold and windy. So we were so cold. And Werther's was over there. And Amanda and I were like standing there. And I said to Amanda, okay, Amanda, let's just go in here just so we can warm up, because I'm just so cold.
Yeah, it was really cold.
We just have to go and just warm up. We walked into Werther's. And I think that was the first time that we actually walked into Werther's, because like I said, I'm not a big caramel popcorn person. So Werther's doesn't like really call me. Wow. That was the first time that we smelled that smell, because we walked into Werther's and immediately you warmed up and said, oh my God, this smells so good. Right? And that was the memory I have of Werther's.
Yeah, the first time really going to Werther's. Because the first time you walk, especially if it's cold outside, I think too, you're in Germany right now. Yes. It is cold. It's freezing.
It's freezing.
It's like everyone's speaking German to you. You don't know what's going on. And it's like you don't have any beer in your hand because you're too young, because you're only like 10. So
too cold to be drinking beer outside anyway.
So then, you walk into Werther's and it smells so warm, so inviting, so lovely.
It was just amazing. It was just, and they're so friendly in there too, because you go in and they start like smiling at you, waving at you. And I think they even gave us like a sample of the popcorn. I mean, it was just so nice to be in from the cold. But when you smell that smell, and like I said, normally I'd pass Werther's, I'd look at it and go, oh yeah, caramel. Okay, they have caramel cookies, caramel popcorn. Yeah. I'm not a big caramel kind of eater.
Neither am I, yeah.
Right, but that night it just sticks in my memory.
No, for sure. My memory is also with Luke, actually. So again, I grew up going to Disney. I was very fortunate and very grateful I was able to go to Disney all throughout growing up. And I remember one time, I forget, we were kind of by where the United Kingdom Pavilion was, and we were waiting for the fireworks, and I really wanted popcorn. So we're like, all right, we're going to go look for popcorn. And so we decided to go along the way. And this is, now I know where all the popcorn stands are, right? Because now I'm a full-fledged adult. So I know where all the popcorn stands are. As a child, I didn't know. But at the time, though, my parents were like, oh, we don't want to walk to go get you popcorn. No. So it was the first time ever that me and my brother were allowed to walk in Disney by ourselves without our parents, that we were going to go get popcorn. Again, this is the first time, I was a child.
We were sitting all the way by the back gate.
Yeah, I was old enough. I guess I was around 10 to 11 probably. So Luke was like 13 or so. So again, we weren't like little kids or anything like that. We were just regular kids, I would say.
But Disney was not a place where you said, okay, go disappear. You know?
So we were still young enough where, you didn't want your kid just wandering off or something. But again, this was the first time they were like, okay, you can walk to go get the popcorn and then come back. I thought there was a popcorn at the American Pavilion. And at the time when we walked by, they do sell popcorn now at the American Pavilion. But I think at the time they were not selling popcorn at the American Pavilion, because we walked by and it wasn't there. Either that or it was like closed or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was. So we kept having to walk by, but I remember like the excitement that me and Luke had, that this was our first time wandering around Epcot like without our parents with us, And now it's like I wander all the time without my parents.
Right. Go do it. Come back.
I remember we had to go all the way down to Mexico, and that's where at the time we found the first popcorn stand. There is no longer a popcorn stand in Mexico, so just keep that in mind. But at the time, we went all the way down to Mexico. I remember getting online in Mexico for the popcorn stand, and then I can't remember if Luke called you.
Luke called me because he had to rub it in my face.
Yeah, because he was like, guess where we are? We're in Mexico. And I was like, you're not in Mexico. And he had the Disney cast member be like, yep, we're in Mexico right now.
He put them on the phone to say, "Yup, they're in Mexico."
Yep, to get my popcorn. So yeah, we had walked around the whole World Showcase. My parents were like shocked that we had to go that far, like how far we actually ended up wandering off, you know? But yeah, but it was quite funny though, and I do remember that.
I remember that because it was like, what the hell? What do you mean you're in Mexico?
It's like we were only supposed to go like one pavilion
Well,
over.
the joke was, I think the next year we went back and we were going to dinner with friends with Joe and Jane.
Yeah.
And they went through the similar kind of feel because I said to them, okay, 4 adults were going to go to the Yachtsman to go have steak dinners.
I do remember that.
And the kids were going to go. They were going to take my friend's daughter, who's 2 years younger than Amanda, into Epcot with them.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I mean, it was her only child. The kid was young. I forget how old Taylor was at the time.
And I would have been like middle school. I
guess so. And I said to her, don't worry about it. They'll be fine. And I said, they go around all the time now, like by themselves, And she's like, you could see that as they were walking off to Epcot and we were walking off to Yachtsman, she was like looking and looking and looking. I said, they'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Luke will make very good sure that they are not any place but with him. And he did. He did watch out very carefully and stuff. But it is that first jolt. And I do remember that.
Well, I feel like it's like a moment too of your child growing up.
Yes.
That it's like, the first time they go to school, the first time they do something, maybe walk to the bus stop by themselves. It's like the first time going off into Disney by themselves. And at the time they didn't. Now they live in Florida. Now at the time our friends lived in Pennsylvania.
Right.
But again, the first time on vacation, your child going
off by themselves without an adult. And like I said, as much as Disney is, you think it's all controlled. As a parent, any parent will know that you still don't want your kids walking around and somebody noticing that these kids have no parents with them or whatever.
Sure. So but I always remember that though personally. Just the first time I wandered Epcot.
Yeah, I didn't believe them. I thought they were lying until they put the cast member on.
And I got my popcorn.
Yes, she got her popcorn though.
All right. Thanks so much, everyone, for listening to this week's episode. Make sure you're following us on social media, Spaceship Earth Design. It will be linked in the description. And I will have a dedicated Instagram post on our Instagram to let us know what is your favorite thing to do in Epcot. I know there's a lot of things we didn't mention. We didn't talk at all about the areas by Test Track and Mission Space.
This is too much.
Yeah, we didn't talk anything about the land, really. The land was one of my honorable mentions at first. It's like just being in the land, just because I love the land. I love the smell of the land when you walk into the land. But yeah, there's a lot of things that obviously we didn't talk about that, we didn't go over. Maybe the butter.
Well, if we limit it only to 10, there's only so much we can,
Yeah, like the butterfly garden during like the Festival of the Arts. There's like a lot of like paintings and things that you can do. Different photo ops. Obviously, we don't do meet and greets in our family, so we don't talk about any of the meet and greets. But yeah, let us know what your favorite thing to do in Epcot is. I would love to hear it. If you're listening on YouTube, make sure you leave a comment below letting us know. Also, give this YouTube video a like if you'd like. But if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or anywhere else, make sure you give us that 5-star review if you deem us worthy of 5 stars. I would love that, as well as a review on Apple Podcasts. We'd really appreciate it. Yeah, thanks so much for listening, everyone, and